Oh, hey, everybody. Damien with Southpaw Designs here. And today we're going to go through the process of taking a project from a complete blank screen in VCarve Pro to actually exporting G code of a finished project that's ready to go. It's going to be a very simple project. This is meant to be kind of a workflow project to show you how to go from absolutely nothing to a file that's ready to take to your CNC. In my case, I use the Onefinity X50, the woodworker. If you like this kind of content, I'm going to try to put these things out fairly often. These are meant to be kind of a quick tip series where you can just come see an answer to a question and you don't have to wait 45 minutes to see this huge deep dive. I will be doing some deep dive videos as well, but that's not what this one is. Also, these are going to be in a playlist that is going to be linked down in the description. So again, make sure to subscribe, check out that playlist, and then check out some of the other videos on my channel because I've got a lot of great stuff there. With that, let's go ahead and dig into it. So right here, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to set up your job. I've never done anything double-sided or rotary, so we're going to stick with a single-sided. And let's just, for the sake of something easy, let's just go 8 inches by 8 inches. And then for your thickness, that's going to vary depending on your project. Unless you're cutting through something, the thickness really, in my opinion, is not as big of a deal. And the reason being is because I'm typically going to zero things from the top of my surface. So let's assume that we have a 1-inch thickness. And what this means, the Z0 position, that is where are you going to be measuring the 0 point. Okay, and I'm always going to set that from the top so that it will actually cut down. All right, and that's from the top on the material surface. You can change it to the bed, but unless you have a reason for it, I think it's safer to go on the machine bed. So that way it knows where the top of your material is, and it should stay away from that and keep you from breaking any bits or running into any problems. Okay, next, where is your 0 position? And I typically set mine to the bottom left hand corner. If you're working with a square piece of material, that's usually what you're going to want to do. I mean, it really doesn't matter if you're working with a square piece of material, but you need to have some point that it recognizes as the beginning point. All right, modeling resolution is going to be standard, and the material settings, you can choose different materials. I'm just going to stay with Canadian maple, which is going to be, I think if it's like any other type of maple, it's going to be a typical kind of a hardwood. Okay, so now once we have that, we have a series of tools here, and I'm going to do a different video on how to use the line tool, the arc, the curve tool, but let's go ahead and let's just start with a circle. And what I can do is I can come out here and I can click and drag, and then now you can manually type in exactly where you want it to go if you want to. So 4.5 tab 4.5, is that going to put us, that's the center point. Actually it should have been 4 because we're not dealing with 9 inches, we're dealing with 8 inches. Okay, radius 2.4 inches. Let's say we wanted it to be 4 inches. All right, there you go. The radius, no, I'm sorry, 2 inches. I was thinking diameter. So let's set the radius to 2 inches. There you go. It's a good coaster size right there. So I apply that and we close that. All right, so here we go. Now, if we wanted to, we can move it around. And there are other tools that we can use to like intersect if we wanted to. For example, let's see, let's do the polyline. If I wanted to come in here and do something like this, I could. And then be done with it if I wanted to be able to do that. Then I can actually come in and let's see, do I want to weld it together? I'm still getting used to some of these settings, so I'm not going to go deep into many of these. But if we did that weld right there, nope, it's not what I wanted. I want to be able to get rid of that. I'll look that up. I'm not worried about that right now. Like I said, I'm still fairly new to this software. So anyway, let's just go ahead and go with our coaster. And then let's suppose I wanted to have that coaster have a little bit of a lip to it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste that. Now we actually do have 2 coasters. There you go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to resize that a little bit, make it just a little bit smaller. And Going to move it into place. Now here's a handy dandy thing for you. Number one, I'm using my arrow key to move stuff around, and that's nice because you can kind of manually move it very precisely. And let me go ahead and select this circle, and I'm going to now put that right in the center, and I'm going to drag another guide down here also in the center. So that shows the dead center of it. And so now what I can do is I can actually grab this one. Let me make it a there we go. Let me manually just move it in here. Oh, I know what it is. I had the wrong tool selected, I believe. There we go. Move it right in there. So there you go. So now we actually have two circles that are totally centered. All right. And we're just going to do like a simple coaster. So to go into 3D view, we see absolutely nothing. So once we have our design done, and this is a pretty amazing design, I know you're impressed. Try to contain yourselves, people. Now we're going to go into the material setup. So the cam side, we've done the CAD side. So now we're going to do the cam side. And how do we want to do it? What do we actually want to do with it? If we wanted to make a pocket, we could do that. So the pocket is actually going to cut out a hole. All right, and because this is a circle and there are no real tight corners, I can just as easily use a 1/4 inch end mill. And so I'm going to go ahead and select that one, and I already selected a pocket toolpath, and let me go ahead and select that inside. Then I'm going to calculate, and there we go. So if I go ahead and preview this, it actually cuts in, and then we can resize it and we can see. All right. Now let's go back in there and let's edit that and see what we actually did. What it does is it has 4 passes. So if I come in here and edit the passes, let's see, it's a 1/4 inch end mill. It's going at, excuse me, 1/2 inch deep. That's a coaster. I don't want it to go 1/2 inch deep. I only want it to go maybe, let's say, 0.125, 1/8 of an inch deep. So I only want it to go 1/8 of an inch deep. So I'm going to change that, and then we take a look at these passes. By default, this 1/4 inch end mill is going to go 1/8 of an inch per pass. Okay, so if we wanted to do it in multiple passes, we could. But if it's a 1/4 inch end mill, 1/8 of an inch I think is more than fine. We can easily do that in one pass. All right. So there we go. We can set this to be offset or raster. Offset's fine. We're only doing one pass. And that's all we got there. So let's go ahead and take a look, see if we want to adjust anything else here. 2 flutes, pass depth. So by default, it's going to go down 1/8 of an inch, and the step over is going to be 1/8 of an inch. Basically, what the step over is how far after it makes a pass, it's going to go over and start making another pass. How much is it going to step into the wood in that next pass? And it's generally not a good idea, from everything that I've read and understand, it's generally not a good idea to go more than half the size of the bit. Since this is a 1/4 inch bit, 1/8 of an inch or 50% would be really what you want to do. It gives you a default spindle speed, feed rate, plunge rate, and it pulls that based on the type of material that you set and the type of bit that you're using. So I generally leave those alone. I don't know enough about them to be able to override them, and I don't want to break a bit or cause some damage to my CNC because I decided to act like I was smarter than I am and make a change there. So click OK, and let's go ahead and calculate that. Now what you'll notice is that, man, that's still awful deep. Is it just, oh wait, you've got to reset the preview. So before you go to preview it again, you have to reset that preview. That gets rid of the previous one. I always forget that. There we go. So now we can see that it's only 1/8 of an inch deep. Okay, but what I also want to do is I want to cut it out. Since it is a circle, I want to go ahead and use my CNC to cut out my coaster. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to select the outside, and now I'm going to do a profile toolpath. Now the profile is not going to cut a pocket like we just saw. It's actually going to cut along the line. Okay, so for this one, the cut depth, since we are going to be cutting it out, I normally wouldn't have a 1-inch coaster, but I think that's what I designated. So the cut depth is going to be 1 inch. I'm not going to use a V-bit, that's for sure. So I'm still going to use my 1/4 inch end mill. And notice how it has 8 passes. I don't think we need 8 passes. I'm just going to change it to 4 passes. That should be fine. So that's going to have 4 passes. That's going to speed it up a little bit. And do we want to go right on the line? Do we want to go inside or outside? I think I want to go outside the line, because what I want it to do is I want to keep that line there, but I want it to cut out the coaster. All right, so it's going to go all the way through. And let's see, add ramps, we don't need to. You can add tabs if you want to. And since we are cutting through it, you're going to need a way to hold your coaster in place. So if you want to add tabs, you can. Typically what I do is I'll use the old CA glue and tape method. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've probably watched me do that. And so the entire piece is going to be held down onto my spoil board anyway. So even if I cut all the way through it, it's not a big deal. So I'm not going to add any tabs. In my opinion, tabs is just another piece of work. So then once you're done, you've got to cut those tabs. You've got to sand everything. I like just using a piece of tape. It's not that expensive. Saves time. So going to go ahead and calculate that. No suitable vectors are selected. So let me select that and then calculate, and you'll see it shows it right there. So let's go ahead and notice how it's still got the other one in there. Right, so it's still got our pocket there. So if I go ahead and preview this one, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Preview selected. Notice how it goes right through, and it shows us that it does go right through. All right, so now we have our pocket, and then we've also cut out our coaster. Now, I really would not have an inch thick coaster. I'd probably resaw, if I had an inch thick board, I'd probably resaw it down to 1/2 inch. And I've actually got a video on how you can resaw with a table saw. I'll link it in the description and put it right up in the info card in the top right hand corner there. So now, but once we're done there, all we have to do is close this. Now, what I love about VCarve, and one of the things that really made me pull the trigger on it, so we can generate this job sheet right here, and I'm just going to save it in my CNC builds. And so what that does is that actually gives us all those settings. Where did I have that? Document, CNC builds, new summary. Yeah, there we go. Open that up, and here you go. So this is our job sheet, so we can see exactly what our settings are supposed to be, which bits we're using, what order, approximately how long it's going to take, and we're ready to go there. Now you don't have to do that, but I like doing that. Okay, so we're done previewing. Now we're going to go ahead and save the toolpaths. I'm going to save them to multiple files. I prefer, since I have to change out, actually it's not a bit change. Actually, so this one, yes, since they're both 1/4 inch, we should be able to save both of them to one file. So let me go ahead and select both of those. Since they're both 1/4 inch bits, we don't have to do any material changes. We don't have to do any bit changes. So we can just go ahead and save that. So I'm going to go ahead and save that toolpath. The machine that I have designated is my X50, which when you install VCarve, it'll ask you what your project is, and there you go. So now go ahead and save that toolpath. It's going to save it as an NGC file. I assume that stands for new G code, nasty G code. I don't know. We can figure out what that N is. I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and save it in there. If I wanted to make another folder, I could. Save that, and we are good to go. So now we have our G code ready to go. So there we go. That is the process from beginning to end. The last thing that we want to do is we want to save this, and we always want to save that as a CRV file so that we can open it up and we can make any changes to it. Let's suppose you wanted to save it and then later on customize it, put a custom logo, somebody's name in there, anything like that. We can easily do that. So there you go. That's the process from start to finish on how to create a new document in VCarve Pro and take it all the way to completion and exporting our G code. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you haven't, please take a second and subscribe. It really means the world to me. And you have a great day, and I look forward to the next one.